Which connection I should go. I was feeling part of the Cinderella. I want right out. All right, good morning, good morning. It is 6:31. It is September 14th. It is Thursday. I hope everyone's having a great week. I think we're getting this all figured out, the new technology set up. I still think I can't talk to my dogs around the world as it doesn't come up live, but we'll try and figure that out. Either which way, I'm glad I can get this out, get it out early, so this way you could take it in, look at your own charts, make some of these ideas your own, get prepared, because that's what we do here. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to the 630 Club. We have a bunch of things going on today, right? CPI is behind us. Market didn't sell off. Today we have the PPI, which is a little bit more muted. Once you get the CPI, we have jobless claims, and then obviously everyone's waiting to see how ARM trades. You know, when new IPOs come out, everyone gets all excited. You know, you should be excited if you were in the private placement, 6 years ago and went through 7 valuation scenarios, or you're a huge broker on the street and you pay commission everywhere and you're getting an allocation of 20,000 shares, because there's a lot of free money, but as an active trader, not a lot of free money. It all depends how it trades, right? It's being priced at 51. So, I'll get into the art of the first day of trading an IPO, which I've been doing for about 20 years. That has kept me safe, has kept my community safe, versus having an opinion and getting over your skis. So anyway, futures are up 15 handles after a lot of back and forth yesterday. The SPYs are up $1.74. We'll get to that. Here is your chart of the S&P cash. Very, very tight, ahead of a few things today, right? What do we have? Again, I said we have the PPI, we have jobless claims. They couldn't sell down the CPI yesterday. And then it all depends on what they do really with ARM. Do they open the semis up and then just sell it down? Are they trying to create a positive environment so everyone's in a good mood to take their shares from a discounted price into the public market? I've seen so many IPOs that open up so damn high because everyone is such a pig on Wall Street that it doesn't see another up day for days, or that's the high, and then it just declines, like remember coin. But anyway, we'll see what it goes on today. So here's your levels in the S&P cash. You have 44.90. We're opening above 44.79. That is a spot to see whether or not it gets rejected or not. That is right here. It's interesting that how tight we are heading in. And then above that, you have a whole void to 45.40. So we'll see how it goes. There's all that talk out there about the last 2 weeks of September being the worst 2 weeks of the fall. So what does that mean? They want to take everyone by surprise? That's leaning short because of the calendar? I don't know. At this point, we'll let the price action dictate, because you definitely have the haves and have-nots. There's lots of divergences. Not everything is created equal whatsoever. So again, if we stay above 44.79, there's 44.90, and then avoid if we open up here and just fade. Then all of a sudden you have 44.53 and then 44.30 below. If you look at the chart of the SPYs, it correlates to the S&P cash, very tight. I drew this yesterday. At this point, you have 44.71, which is yesterday's high, and then 48.77. As of right now, the SPYs are 448.31. So we're above yesterday's high, below the high of the week. So we'll see what happens if we could, hold this and how it handles that spot throughout the course of the morning. And then we'll see what time ARM comes out. If again, it opens up and can't hold this, then maybe you'll see what happens if it wants to have a big loose and wide day. Well, we'll see. If you have a bunch of longs, I always trim a little bit into a gap that's in my favor, so you net money and you can move on. Okay, the Qs are very similar to the SPYs. They've actually been holding up better than some of the other sectors, and we'll see what happens here. This is 377.49. Actually, what's this? This is 375.84. This is 377.49, and then above that you have 380.88. So look at this chart. Looks a lot different than the small caps that all the bears are focusing on, right? You do have this head and shoulders top in the IWM on an absolute and relative basis. This has been lagging, but if you've been shorting some stocks or some indices, because of the relative weakness in the IWM, you're not doing well. If you've been short in the IWM, hey, maybe you're making some money. But at this point, I remember this nice sequence that happened that got rejected into the top of this resistance channel, because that's all that was. And now you do have this, this pattern that's out there. But is it leading the market? Is it giving clues that we're going to fail today and go down into Yom Kippur, or not? We'll see. At this point, though, again, it hasn't been profitable to be long the small caps. Same way it hasn't been profitable to be long all of tech, right? You have a bunch of things acting really well. Amazon has been on the move. Amazon reclaimed 134.62 on that day. Remember, here's where it looked like it might fail, and the red dog reversal got a lot of individuals back long, and since then it's been above the 8-day to make a new high on 2023. So again, Amazon a have by the active bulls, but then you look at Netflix, a have not, right? Remember a few days ago, Netflix looked pretty darn good. Looked like it had a bull flag, and then all of a sudden this candle got most active guys out, or at least more flexible, as it did not hold this flag to go to the upside. It broke below it, so it changed. It broke below 436, and then yesterday even you had a chance, if you didn't even know that news was going to come out from the conference, that you could have been short when it broke 434.12. There are a bunch of guys on my alpha team that had puts. I did not, but I'm just showing you that not everything is moving together. Amazon on the way up, Netflix, which was a strong stock, earlier in the year, got hit hard. Things change, and then you have other divergences where you have like an Apple that's still kind of under pressure here, right? Apple tried to get above this 174.82 yesterday, and it couldn't. Okay, got rejected. These were the levels we wrote down. It's good to have levels. So you have Apple that's trying to kind of giving you little clues. You got to be a little careful. Because Apple, when Apple's not going up, it's not it's not the healthiest thing for tech, but it's also, but you look at the size and move that Apple had this year, now it's kind of not the one. Every time there's different stocks that are the one for the moment. Bottom line is, this has been kind of negative ever since, it underwhelmed on earnings, and then here was that China news, and now all of a sudden, still not acting great. But then you flip the other coin, and then you have, Microsoft is trying to break above this spot. Okay, I know for me, which makes it hard, right? I did get out of Microsoft on this day, kind of got trapped, and I didn't flip short, but then all of a sudden that day happened. So, you move this up maybe a little bit. This is still in check, but this looks a little bit, this is it looks different than Apple. So a lot of things are moving differently, right? So yeah, it's very specific, which one thing's kind of counteracting your idea versus the other thing, which makes it, a little bit harder for a trader, because you create these divergences in your mind, especially if it's within a group, and then you have Meta, which has been a choppy mess. And then you have the semis. So the semis will be important today. If you look at the SMH, very tight ahead of this ARM IPO. So if they're going to open up ARM and trade it well, meaning, it has an open, puts in a 5-minute high, hangs out, consolidates, takes out the 5-minute high, and then trades well into the close, and everybody can make money, chances are semis will be good. If they open it up and everyone's just a seller, and then it breaks the opening price and goes below, and chances are they sell the semis, and then and then tech doesn't hold up. But anyway, 152.19 is pivot resistance. Here's pivot support. What are the semis doing right now? Well, still within this range. So this is 151. So that could be a good trade. Hey, if they want to goose the semis and ARM trades well, and a lot of these, the semi leaders, whether they're NVIDIA, AMD, they want to go, well, it's got to get above and stay above this spot. And then, then you have some room above. But if they sell the semis and they sell this up open, chances are it's going to create a very loose wide day. NVIDIA, we talked about, can NVIDIA hold the 50-day? And it did. Okay, and it was a strong day yesterday. A lot of people made some good money with NVIDIA yesterday because it went from red to green and it held the 50-day. Holding, here's where it broke a little bit. Here's where it lost the 8-day. So if you sell, I always say if you sell the 8-day, you can test the 21-day and the 50-day. If you sell the 50-day, maybe you can test the 200-day. But anyway, sold the 8-day and then held the 50-day. So that's how you have to test levels. Now the question is, what's this high? 459. Let's see. I'll put this over here. So for some reason my trend spider is a little sticky. So for today, see what happens here at 459. Does it get above and stay above this? This can move up a little bit even. Does it take back the moving averages? And then this is 466. So we'll see how NVIDIA reacts. NVIDIA is very important. Also AMD. AMD's been trading in this downtrend for a long time, right? Look at this AMD. Since the double top, keeps getting rejected into this area. So we'll see for the first time, can it really get above and stay above? So this is 108.74. This was 106, so this was a pivot to buy yesterday, right? It's trying to take back all the moving averages. So I guess we'll see today, does AMD get above and stay above 109? Actually, let's put yesterday's high. So yesterday's high is what? Yesterday's high is, these are all the level 2s that I have up on one of my 6 monitors, by the way. It helps me read the price action. So this is 108.74. By the way, this is what I do all morning long. I change pivots, I isolate areas, I go through all different sectors and charts and get myself mentally prepared for how I want to look at things and then react when the market opens. So the question, this was a good spot to be long yesterday, which I am long. And then you trim a little bit when the gap's in your favor, and then you see, hey, can it really get above this? And every time shorting this downtrend line, traders have been making money. At some point, it might change. So that's you. Don't go back to the well one too many times. And lastly, Tesla's been really good. Tesla's on the half side. Tesla, gave you that nice gap and go with the Morgan Stanley upgrade. It's been trading well since. Here, remember, it gapped above 261. I was a buyer that day. I took it home pretty long. Was able to buy in the hole, red to green, push to 278 to add through here and kind of trade around it. And yesterday wasn't so bad. I'd like to say, hey, if you're super duper active, you know what? If you want to raise your stop, raise it to here. The longer it goes sideways, unless the moving averages catch up, hey, maybe it continues to fill this gap or higher. At this point, Tesla's up $1.60. So if you're long it overnight, you trim a little bit and hold a little bit. Again, even if you think it goes higher, you always trim a little bit when a gap is in your favor because we have to net money. That's how we make a living. So with all this said, we'll see how it goes. The SPYs are up $1.88. So looks as if this wedge-ish type pattern pre-market, or morning-wise is trying to break to the upside, which would confuse everybody that thinks we're going lower the last 2 weeks, but that's what the market does. It likes to play with sentiment. So we'll see how that goes. And, just continue to keep making progress, keep being prepared, keep, working on yourself. And that's how you net money and you keep your brain sane so you could continue to do this. I've been doing this since 1997. I've seen a lot of people come and go. I've seen bigger traders than me that swing for the fences and have made a lot more money than I've made in a year that, are out in the Hamptons friggin' renting cabs. But because they didn't have the cost average approach to their life and their career and keep themselves mentally grounded and sane. So anyway, I just made that up out of my head, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people who come and go. So if you want to be someone that stays, then make sure that you create a routine that you like, because you're going to do it every day. So on down days, you still have a decent day, even if you don't make any progress in your P&L, but you keep yourself mentally fit for when things set up that's conducive to your style. So once again, we'll see if this early strength holds. If you're in some positions, trim some, hold some, and then we'll see how the day develops and see how the rest of this month develops. Day by day, week by week, know your time frame. I always tell you guys I have 7 different accounts because I'm 50 years old, and you have your 401k where you put your monthly flows in every month. Over time, that should yield you about 7% on the average for 30 years. A 529 helps pay for these crazy college costs. I started when Chase was 5. He's now a freshman. I added to that a few different times. You have a blood in the street account for crazy times, which means like 10% off highs, and you wish you had cash, and all of a sudden you have one. And then if you trade actively for a living, besides all that, you have your active account, your swing account, your option account, and you create a little bit of this environment where you're your own PM, taking advantage of all different types of setups and trades. But that takes time, it takes work, and Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So if you've only been doing this for a year, make sure you simplify it, you day trade, you net your money, you write down how much you think you can make a day, what your average loss is a day, what's your best day, what's your worst day, and keep a track on what your real trading process is, so you don't have a false illusion of how much you think you can make or what you're allowed to have, your limit, and all those kind of things. But anyway, we'll see what happens today. Very, very tight. Remember, don't get over your skis with ARM. I've seen a lot of new issues come out. They open up and then they make a 5-minute high. Like, just say ARM is $51. That's what it's priced at. Just say it opens at 60. At 60, everyone that had the free shares at 51, they're up $9. It's been a tricky year. They're going to take some of that $9. So if somebody put in for 100,000 shares and got 5,000 shares, chances are to those 5,000 shares, they're selling 4,000 of 9 points. Okay? You don't have those 9 points. Either do I. So maybe it opens at 60, goes to 61 or 62, comes back to 60. Now you know where the 5-minute high, you know where it opened. If it fails to hold that 60, there's no trade there. It can go anywhere down to 51. It means that there's so much supply, everyone's selling it. If it comes into 60 and hangs, goes back to 60 and a half or 61, okay, now you have the 5-minute high or the 15-minute high, and then you have the opening price, and they're eating through the supply, then gets back above 62, then it can go to 64, 65, 70. That means there's more demand than supply, and maybe there's a good trade there. That's the art of the first day in simplified 630 Club type of format. Listen, gratitude. Wish you well. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry that we can't interact. I'm trying to still figure it out with my tech department, but at least you're going to get this out on YouTube and on Twitter, and let's hope that it's working. And keep your process strong, keep your mind sane, execute with confidence, and enjoy life, because you never know when your number's called. Thanks for tuning in.